See ya! I push 50 points off the track, baby.
In Japan, where the sun will always shine, traditions collide with the future's line. Through city streets and temples high, find your story beneath the sky. Waves scratch, pumping out your sense. Harmony flows to the best of lands. In the neon glow, where is spent. The culture rich, where reason sense. In the morn of grace, we'll dance the night with every star, a guiding light. In Japan, where the sun will always shine, traditions collide with the future's line. The cherry lanes and soaring heights, find your magic near the moonlit nights.
Alrighty, guys. We are absolutely 15 minutes late, of course, but I've been trying to get things set up, trying to get the bot set up and things, through StreamerBot, and we've now got available for a lot of things that will hopefully get us going for today, and I hope that we can make sure that we are getting a lot of things better. Now, of course, there is a couple of things being done right now, for some big news, and a lot of news coming out, now, of course, anyway, okay, so we have some things that, as of right now, this is going to be our best decision. Now, of course, if I'm not mistaken, we won't be going that way to Dortmund from up that way, but maybe we might still have this quote-unquote thing. I am back a little bit. I am on a slightly older version of Euro Truck right now. And so that's what we're... No, it's supposed to be the cargo, not the external. Um, for it. Um, but we do have some things being shifted around. And stuff. Um, okay. Um, anyway, this might be a couple of things. I'm kind of messing around with the streamer bot. And I think what I will most likely be doing, um, is I need to have a large turn radius because of because that's why I did that. But anyway, um, waiting for the updates and things to come in for um the these platform, waiting from YouTube, not platforms, but waiting for kind of going to start waiting for a little bit people to quite somewhat show up. And to be honest, I have started to actually have started to really push the posting to um to Blue Skies. So if anybody who doesn't know, I have been kind of been more a little bit more active lately on Blue Sky, and actually I'm going to share with you guys a lot of different things pertaining to the side of um, um, But there's always these things where you know, I'm always gonna tell you, I'm always gonna be critical. Um, a lot of times I don't care. ICE is one of those sets of people that I'm gonna be critical against. I wasn't against it previously, but I am more now against what's going on with Trump and all of these things going on related to that in a lot of these decisions. Um, and a lot of the things that I typically um, always am going to, and I'm always going to share my political stuff, but I'm not going to do it like every day. I'm not going to be somebody that, like, look, if there wasn't a lot of things for news today that I wanted to really share, um, then I probably would not be sitting here driving. We don't have the music on right now, but if you guys want to hear some music, I can turn it on. But I'm not gonna turn it on right now. But there's this thing that always seems to persist with me, um, and I'm always gonna share with you that back in the day, um, most people will probably look at my political um, decisions, political things that I did. Basically, when I was able to, and I signed up to vote, most of the time I voted Republican, and I voted without just basically not having a critical mind or critical thinking skills to basically, or at least even study up on politics. Um, to be honest, and let me be clear, with all the things that I've done, is I've kind of started picking up a lot more of politics in recently. And I'm not like recently as in I'm talking about since 2020. I have picked up more into politics than I have since then. Now that doesn't mean that I didn't start really talking about politics a lot until recently, as of last year. I even think I did talk about it occasionally here and there, but I'm not quite that 100% there on this. Now, of course, I have always made sure that, you know, since 2020, basically to make sure that I have critical thinking and critical mind, and making sure that the places that I listen and the places that I choose to listen to, you know, I didn't really start listening to a lot of the uh, the internet, or really take into more consideration into listening to a lot of the content. I will tell you, I started listening to basically CBS and listening to that side of the news when I started. But I will tell you, I listened to CNN on occasion. I'll occasionally probably read something from Fox News, or read something from various different news sources, or watched from various different news sources. Today, like back in the, I would occasionally get something. I just really didn't really spend a lot of time. I just mostly just watched my local news for the weather, and that was about it, and things like that. And now, as of since 2020, basically, I started kind of picking up political content, in the sense of I started watching through YouTube, and for a lot of people will probably look at me and say my politics is a left-leaning. Of course it is. Of course it is left-leaning, but it's not absolutely left-leaning to the point of this, that, and forcing left-leaning. I started watching a lot of the content through YouTube, through TYT or the Young Turks, and similar place, and now I've kind of shifted a little bit. Um, it doesn't mean that I am fully capable of not paying attention or not listening, but um, to what they say. Sometimes I'll get something I don't, um, because most of the time I'm now listening to the Midas Touch, um, and I'm listening to David Pack. I would listen to David Packman then too, um, and now I kind of listen to David Packman, Brian Tyler Cohen, Farron Cousins. Um, The Ring of Fire I didn't listen to as much because, you know, um, or Fair and Balanced for that matter. I listened to The Ring of Fire more, but now I've kind of don't really listen to The Ring of Fire as much today because Fair and Balanced was the only person I listened to really, and things. But you know, I kind of just listen to a little bit of whatever MS now. I occasionally get things from those points. Now that doesn't mean I completely listen to MS now. I don't. It's not something I sit down and I said, okay, I'm gonna listen to MS now. I'm gonna listen to this, because I don't. I don't listen to just a place. I have various places where I listen. And I get my news from Newsbreak too. So I'm not like, I may have tailored a little bit to be left leaning, but I also have smart news and things, and I don't really let's see, where are we at? We do need to get some rest. I don't know. And trip time is 4 hour trip time to go, and we got 3 hours. For it. How much? It's gonna be 3 hours and 29 minutes just to go there. Do at least get some rest. But I listen to a lot of that place now. I kind of will listen to just wherever and whatever, just basically titles and things, and I don't listen to Midas Touch on everything. I don't listen to Brian Telecon on everything. I don't listen to David Packman on everything. I don't listen to everything that they say. You know, Tennessee Brando's another one. Like I listen to a variety of places from left and right. Okay, like, to be honest, like, I listen to those things that really make sense into listening to various different places. I do occasionally will get things from places like for places like Republican and stuff. And to be honest, I will tell you, I started out as a Republican. For the most of the time until 2022, I was a registered Republican. So if anybody is going out and complaining to me that, oh, you're not a you're a Democrat, no, I said I'm not a more likely I am. The things that you need to really look at is you need to really spend the time and look at across the things that the people that I follow a lot of the time. On social media, I tend to really listen to, you know, I follow Gavin Newsom. I don't like him. I'm not somebody that there's just there's people better than Gavin Newsom, to be honest, but but I will listen to Gavin Newsom because I like what's going on in California, what they're doing. Um, and there's always this thing that I always like listening to various um, um, different people and different um, things. Of course, um, you know, there are people out there that I really um, I follow a little bit of people from various different points and understanding that, you know, I the biggest places that I will listen and will read most of the time will be LGBTQ plus, will be LGBTQ Nation, to be honest. And in the morning are the two places that I tend to listen to the most. Um, and I will tend to read almost every article that I come across um, to my feed. So I'm always listening to those more than any other news source out there. But that doesn't mean I don't listen to Independent, don't New York Times, or whatever these places. Um, okay, it just means I just listen to a variety of play of people and listen to various different locations and different um, um, listen to various different people for my news and things. I don't wanna just get my news everywhere from left or right or center or whatever. A lot of my gaming news, I don't care if they're right leaning or left leaning. I don't care. You know, I get my technology. I don't care if the technology is um uh a lot of that. Now, of course, I will tell you, I said I occasionally will get sometimes I will listen to um sometimes I will listen to um uh most of the time I listen to Jay's 2 Cents or Gamers Nexus. Occasionally I would listen to LTT. I kind of like don't really listen to them much anymore. Um, I'll occasionally, like, if I see something really there, it's like I'm kind of um I don't know why um we just crashed right here. I don't know if there is a thing um that I am missing that's crashing me here. Um and I don't quite understand why. Is there it's something that has to do with Belgium. And I think there is something with me um with it, and I don't know what's going on and why. um um I have to figure out what country we're in um so that I can go and ask um so that maybe we can see what to figure out in the sense. Now, of course, I am using the 1.57 2.4 from December, not using the modern thing because they're eventually going to be updating to Euro Truck Simulator 2 is going to get an update to 1.58. And actually, after seeing the way that they have things set up for it, I actually am more liking it. Will they ever release Euro Truck for the Switch 2? And that's what they're getting prepared for. Because if that's the case, then I would definitely get Euro Truck Simulator on the Switch. I would pick up. I probably would most likely more pick up a Steam Deck for this than anything. Okay. Okay. Currently, we are in Belgium. Belgium. Um, because I have to go, no, that's not what I meant. Hold on. National Classic 1.57. I need to go to my downloads, and I need to import you. Okay. And apply. And I use the mega rep, um, Because check to see if I have any known issues. Because so then we go to check our change log. Okay, those got updated, but because I'm checking to make sure. Oops, those are just add-ons. I want to see. Because now I crash. Now I crash right here on the E40. Right here is where I crash. That's kind of why I am checking to see what maps in the free version do I not have updated. If any of the maps had an update, what they should really do to make things um Yeah, I'm gonna check to make sure I don't have any extra mods installed. Because if it was, um, okay, let me go and check Dane. Denmark is 1.2. Okay. But we are crashing here. What I'm gonna try is we're gonna rotate to the other side. Is we're gonna rotate this way, um, and see if this fixes our issue. Because if it fixes our issue, they're gonna have to figure out some of these fixes, in ProMods 2.8.1, most likely, or in ProMods 2.8.0, because we know that ProMods is heavily worked on through it, and I'm going around that to see if there is see if it fixes our issue, just traveling into a different route. Nope, I already know which way I'm going, so we're gonna try to figure things out. We're gonna try to get things going. And guys, if you hit exclamation mark schedule, now you guys should be able to get a schedule up both on YouTube and on Trovo. The schedule will be present for all of you who want to view or know the schedule that we have. And I don't have to go in and talk about it very much anymore. So if you want to see that, the schedule will basically, if somebody accesses the exclamation mark schedule on the Trovo side, it will No, I just wanted to know which one's gonna modify it. Um, that modifies Belgium, because right now, I will specifically say that I have an issue currently. So if anybody knows right now, so I went recently reinstalled the integrity of the files, recently changed all the stuff within the game itself. I went back to an older thing and I still have that issue where I crash. So I don't know if it's what's going on. what's going on. So I basically, I'm just going to rotate around that way. And if I have to, we'll, you know, we'll figure it out. Because I crashed in Belgium. And it doesn't matter if I crash in Belgium, then I'm like, how am I going to fix what? It's like I hate modifying games sometimes because, you know, modifying a game can break the game because it's not officially supported, and then you have to really go in and ask the community for help. But I really like modifying. I really like the map combos and things because this gives me more opportunity to drive into places that I probably would not be driving into. Now I know I'm getting tired. So yeah, so now we have gone around that issue. So basically, just if you get caught in that area, you might want to take the extra route, because like I said, there's a broken thing somewhere along this line right here, in the E40, like, cause it, like, I just feel like that there's breakage somewhere along that line that breaks the game, and I don't like having to rotate around a lot of times within mods. But anyway, to getting into what I actually am wanting to talk about today, I know it's a little bit later into the Yes, I know I'm getting tired, I'm getting fuel. Hey. Hold your horses, buddy. So the lady's gotta get her, gotta get her fuel. So I just went around it, so hopefully we have no more of that issue. I will make a mental note next time on the E40 that if I do crash, that we will just not go in and actually just go around it. But I will tell you, like, the things that are going on right now, there's this thing that, there's this thing that really is interesting, to say the least. Now, of course, if for any of you, I was watching Aaron Parnas, you know, one of the places that I do get my news occasionally from is through Instagram and stuff. I'm not like, I don't get my news from every source. But that's where I basically, because it's part of Midas Touch, and I follow most anywhere on Midas Touch. And one of the things that Aaron talked about was the Stonewall National Monument dropping the pride flag. for it. Now, apparently, New York officials, I don't know if this is true or not. I don't really know, but apparently they're going to put the pride flag back up. But I don't know if that's true or not. I can never trust anything these days, because you know, like, there's a rumor that's been going around with um, for the NVIDIA stuff that basically is being basically saying that they're going to bring back the 5090 Ti or the Titan, and it's like I don't even see that becoming a thing. So I don't know. It's always these rumors that get started somewhere, and then people just believe it as if it's the truth. This is why I don't really necessarily follow every content, follow everything that's being done through each I don't really follow every place and everybody for it. On a lot of these things. It's why I basically make sure that, hey, you do your study, make sure you study and find these sources, and make sure that you double check everything, because if you see one article talk about the issue, you have to do your diligence and make sure that when you talk about that one, you have to make sure that if the person from, say, you know, like, you know, you can trust the Reuters, but if Reuters talks about this and say NBC and these places, but then you also got to really think about what did they talk about. And where did they go? What constituted them being where they get their sources, and making sure that you double check everything, because if you aren't going to you know, you look at Tom's Hardware, you look at any article or news source, you got to make sure that they're, one, telling you the truth, okay, and two, you got to make sure that if they're going to tell you that, the sources have got to be, you know, through certain reasons and being told certain ways. So that's why you just double check to make sure that they're not all getting from the same source. Because if they're all getting it from necessarily the same source, then you can genuinely kind of like, is it really true? Is it not? You can't really make that full decision. You cannot really make a full decision on these places, because, you know, for a lot of reasons. We are going to do service recommended, okay? Then we're going to take and collect and do these for sure, because we don't have, I might yeah. Yeah, it's only 215 on that. This only goes to 12. That goes to 6. This goes down to there. Now hold on. If we go to trailer configurator, I actually think, can't we modify the wheels? To be honest. Not you. You. Can't we modify your wheels and just basically give us a little bit better thing on that, and then we can go to services. Service recommended. Just upgrade those, because I really need to upgrade them for any point. Let me change you. I do it short for that. So now we should be getting the right thing, because I always forget to get it to necessarily be everywhere. Now of course, we do have here, we do have one going taking motor oil, and we have breast going that way. And that's 17 for 9 hours. But see, for 9 hours, and it's a little bit less kilometers per hour to get the straw bales. But if we do if we take in the cargo market, the cargo market for that one, and we need to make sure it's coming from here. That's going back the way we came, taking bicycles, getting us there. I don't want to always go back. I don't want to go back that way because we had a issue. That's going to Ireland. Post package is going to Great Britain. I think what we can do is let's take that. I want to see. That expires in 12 hours. Let me go and put the biggest price. That one's taking up that way. Call us to JY. Okay, so does that mean, is there any stop on this point? It goes right there to Camaros and then goes right there. I don't want to do that. I don't have that would be constituting something that I'd have to have the money to spend to get there, and it's 21k to get down that way. I'm not going that way. So we'll take these post packages. I think we'll be I think we'll just do that. It's 17, but I don't mind taking it, because it actually seems to be a little bit better for our fuel and better for price per distance. I always pick it based on the price per distance on a lot of things. Um, okay. So we've got a lot of that going on with, and it's really a lot of the LGBTQ people are being basically are being hurt within the United States. Now, of course, not everybody is done that way and is taken to being harmed, but right now a lot of the biggest one is the trans people. The trans people are the ones that are um being hurt in a lot of what's going on here in America. And to be honest, there are some good things, to be honest, but the one that really stood out to me a little bit was typically Republicans do not veto um, trans legislation. Okay, it's rare that you'll find probably somebody doing that, but a governor, I think it was Virginia or something, that basically went went and said we're gonna veto it because it's too. It's like it's for security. A lot of it is related to security in bathrooms and security issues for the thing of it is a lot of people want to get rid of trans people out of bathrooms, but the problem they run into trying to get rid of people from bathrooms um it is not always a good thing, because you try to get rid of, say, trans me from using the women's restroom, um all you're doing is you're making it a security issue for the women in bigger in the bigger decision. On this issue is the whole reasoning behind the issue with what's going on with it is that, because they're all about safety and concerned about what's going on with the people with women. Well, the problem is you start legislating trans men into women's spaces, you're gonna have a problem with that, because safety and concern. Um, uh, and the safety concern with um with it is that if you take the the issue is that when you take a trans person and you remove them from what they want to be in, basically a woman is going to get hurt by a trans man, because you aren't stopping what's actually really happening. Women aren't safe just because a trans person's in the bathroom. You don't understand that when you take that, a man can still use the restroom. A man is still going to go in and still go after the women, because there's no doors, there's nothing to lock them behind it. There's nothing to prevent a man from just walking in. You can't, and you can't prevent those things from going on, and taking um, those points and making the issue even worse, because basically all you're doing is making them even more scared. And there are going to be times where women who will basically look like that they are a masculine man. So now you're gonna basically force them to go use the men's restroom, which then even was even worse. So it's like you can't really take that, and your sense of security is gone. The security is gone right there and then. The security is gone when you decide to take away that legislating, basically requiring that you have to have ID to enter in their restroom. You really are making it even worse, because a person who has to freaking go to the restroom only has so much time before they end up basically ending up having an accident or having a mess that makes it even worse. So you can't really say that bathrooms are safe in those regards. But luckily the governor, I don't remember the name, but luckily vetoed the bill. And did that. So I'm not gonna go and view the whole thing because I already viewed it earlier. And so there is always that for it. Now, of course, you know, attacks on people. Okay, there's been, you know, not just the LGBTQ people are being attacked. Yeah, it cost me 5,000 to go that way. To go that way. Dover. Dover is the one that we're going to, because everywhere else just seems too long, for us. So we're gonna go to Dover, because Dover is the one that basically we need to make sure we're driving on the right side of the road, here in UK, and they drive pretty much basically on the left side instead of the right. So, and to be honest, last night, or early this morning, basically, I was in here driving this morning, early morning, and one of the things that ended up happening was a person drove on the wrong side of the road in the UK. That person drove on the right-hand side of the road when you should be driving left-hand side. Okay? Right now, it's like you drive UK, you drive on the left. When you drive in most of the rest of the countries that I mostly here in Eurotruck, you drive on the right, not the left. But that doesn't mean you always drive left or drive right. In a lot of places. Now, of course, you got these things that really do tend to shift and change on the understanding of what's left, what's right, what's not. You gotta pay attention. Now, of course, I am driving in a non-UK compliant vehicle, but I can still manage to drive. I can still manage to understand it. Now, of course, if I was probably driving as a UK driver, I would probably be utilizing that side of the thing, and I have troubles when I drive UK side like that. Driving left-hand drive, for it. So I basically I just use my mirrors and I just follow basically like I am driving like that. But anyway, but the getting to the attack on people, Donald Trump attacked Canada again, and is attacking Canada because Canada's not he's basically not showing love or kindness to our neighbor. He basically literally attacked Canada because China did a deal with Canada, and Canada basically said, Canada basically said, no, we are bringing jobs, manufacturing. China's actually going to bring manufacturing jobs to Canada. Okay. For a lot of these things. And he attacked them because basically saying, oh, China's gonna get rid of your ice hockey. I'm like, okay, you're gonna get rid of hockey? No, they won't. Canada won't get rid of hockey because guess what? They might say, oh, we're gonna back out of the United States hockey and things, but that's based on what constitutes him having to do that? Saying that they're gonna get, you don't know anything about why. That they're not allowing booze or certain things to be sold on their shelves because they're boycotting America, because of course. And he attacked the big Michigan to Canada bridge that really brings a lot of tourists. What if Canada just decided in Canada basically not to, or what? And it's like he basically, it's really nasty for what he did, and it's really wrong that he's not really taking care of Canada. He's hurting Canada even more, but he basically not really hurting Canada. He's just more of Canada's just gonna hurt us in the long run. What you are doing is actually hurting the United States more than you're hurting Canada. Because Canada, the biggest tourist people who come to the United States are Canadians. Are Canadians, and Canadians tend to really dictate how the market in the United States goes sometimes too. It's you got to think about tourism in a long sense. Tourists, when they come to America, okay, I will tell you that it boosts the economy in the long run. But it does not really boost the economy when a lot of Canadians are sending to boycott America for it. It's like they don't want to bring the like they've said, oh, well, they're not going to use the F-35, so, well, if you don't use the F-35s, we're just, it's really, the ambassador to Canada basically said that. It's like, you need to take our F-35s or we're going to fly them over you and intimidate you for it. They're not buying F-35s because of the things that Donald Trump is doing. They want to take Canada. Trump really wants Canada so badly because he's so greedy. He is such being a thing on greed. And it's not something that you should really be spending your time on is greed. Like, you shouldn't be here looking to make money just to make money, or have greed be such a fantastic thing. Okay? Greed is not. More money does not make it right. You know, it's not just, you know, wanting more money isn't going to change the fact of the things. The way you get more money and the way you want more money, because of that, people are going to want to flock to you if they have good service and good places to live and good places to be, you know, and good things part of that service. And this is the one big reason why I have really picked and decided that I go to Epic Games only for the free stuff, because I'm not basically, okay, it's free. Why not? Why not? I don't go to Epic Games for the free, for buying my games. I go to Epic Games for the free and for Fortnite, and that's it. That's all I ever use Epic Games for. And Steam, basically, I tend to go to Steam more. And there's a lawsuit going on with Steam that involves Tim Sweeney, of all things. And Tim Sweeney wants more money. Tim Sweeney wants this, but it's like, because there's a monopolistic going on, bull. There's a monopoly for it, because Steam basically has good things. You bring people in that do good. You want to compete, you need to start investing into taking care of your consumers instead of just wanting more money. And having more money from Steam or having more money from these platforms really are a lot of the changes that it's like, look, like they're dictating the market that they will get 30% on the market. Well, okay, you get 30% on the market, but like they have the money, but they're a small business. They don't really have. They're not like some big business. They're not like this gigantic. They're a private business. They don't even have stocks. They're private. There's nothing, and then they're small business. They don't make. They do, and they do it well. If you cannot be willing to look at Steam and why people tend to go for it, Steam gives me reviews. Steam allows for me to get mods. I get mods for Steam Workshop for Euro Truck. I get Steam Mod Workshop for City Skylines. I've used the workshop for many of my games. And a lot of these people and these companies really just want to milk you for your money. Steam's not milking you for your money. Steam is giving you a service that really stands out, that really does do things for the consumer. They are. I'm not saying that they're perfect. They do have loot boxes and things. They don't, but they mostly try to stick to keeping their customers, making sure that their customers are happy, and making sure that people can still come to the platform and continue to support it. Right now, I use Steam primarily on the Epic Game. Whoops. On I primarily use Steam on Linux. Can I use the Epic Game Store on a Linux operating system? No, I cannot. I have to go through the HAROWK launcher to be able to even do anything with it. And that's not even great. And that's the truth behind a lot of that. You know, they don't wanna support a the Linux operating system, and to be honest, they don't because they care more about their bottom line and making more money than they care about their customers. Now, of course, I understand things like online like Fortnite, but let me be clear: if Marvel Rivals can run on Linux, then why can't Fortnite run on Linux? Why can't why can't we have Call of Duty? Why can't we have these other games running on Linux to give us a choice? Because their bottom line is they want to make it great for everybody and not have these these um these cheaters. And I understand that. Okay, I understand I don't want cheaters in my game, but they're not really wanting to address the opportunity for for the Linux community. They're not wanting to at least even have the Epic Games launcher for Linux to automatically just, hey, we're gonna works on Linux. Same with Battle.net, same with all of these other things. They don't give us that choice. You have choice. You have a choice. You have a lot of places that you can go and do. You have many, first off, you have many different computer operating systems. Okay? You have many. You want to say that you don't have choice. Well, right now you have pretty much Microsoft. Okay, Windows. Windows is specifically the most popular operating system outside of, second is Mac, and then Linux. But if you actually really look at Linux, there are multiple different distros to choose from. Okay, I could have gone with CachyOS. I could have gone with Pop! OS. I could have gone with Linux Mint. I could have gone with Arch. I could have gone with Ubuntu. I could have gone with Fedora. I could have gone with SteamOS. To be honest, for my computer, I did not choose. I could have gone with you know, the Hannah Montana freaking distro. You know, there's multiple distros out there for anybody picking, and it takes a lot of differences within these things that change a lot with what you do, and you have many choices and many things. Now, of course, if you do pick a flavor, most likely that flavor of Linux is going to be built upon a distro of some sort. It's going to be built on Ubuntu, Fedora, Arch. It's going to be built on something similar. There's even one called Tux, the company called Tux that has their own Linux distribution. So it's like you can choose what you want to do. It's like we have choice on our launchers, but most people gravitate towards Valve and Steam because Steam does wonderful with, yeah, they may take 30%, but that 30% is offset by people who may end up returning a game because of having to return a game, and then they have to fully refund that person. So it really makes it for an offset. When they refund the game and basically play the game for 2 hours, you can refund the game. They're going after Valve because DLCs do not work on other launchers. I'm like, what? It's like, what? Then how come I can go and play Call of Duty on a Windows computer that I have bought a lot of the microtransactions on it, and then play it on PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. It's all based on that. It's going to be based on the developer and the developer's choice. Because sometimes, if you're a developer, a developer's going to try to somewhat milk you out for your money. But there's one company out there that I feel like kind of does that, but not really. And to be honest, if you haven't seen the Final Fantasy VII on for the Switch 2 Final Fantasy VII is absolutely the best for a game. It's $40. It's $40 for a game that has been out for years, that now is finally on the Switch 2, and it's $40. Is that well worth the price of buying a Switch 2? Of course. If you already have the Switch 2 and we're going to do that, Final Fantasy VII would be a great decision for $40 compared to it being $70. Now, of course, I bought it at the price $60-$70, but look, I bought it day one. I bought it right away on the PlayStation 4 because it was one of those that I really wanted to play and really got into it. I really liked the game. It was one of those kind of linear style games that I actually enjoyed over, Rebirth. Okay, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was not the best Final Fantasy. I really could not get into it. I could not. It's just way too much padding in that game. Way too much. They could have just kept it going like they did with Final Fantasy VII Remake and kept it more linear styled. Oh, I'm speeding. How much am I speeding? Okay. Anyway, so it's like sometimes people backlash happens. Backlash of $80 video games. I'm not gonna sit there and spend $80 on a video game and expect not to get everything on a disc. I'm not gonna spend $80 on a physical media if I don't get the game on the disc. There's very handful times that I'll spend 70 on a video game. I'll spend 100 on a video game when I know the thing like Call of Duty, for example. $100 on a Call of Duty game. I spent $100 and then more on that game because that's pretty much me. But Call of Duty, Call of Duty lately hasn't been doing great, but this year last year I went and bought the $100 version of Call of Duty because Call of Duty, every year Call of Duty has some bad games and some bad things in each on it, but that doesn't mean that that some games get that $100 treatment. Well, the $100 is because I pay for the battle pass, and that battle pass always comes out to be $30. So I'm going to be like $70 plus 30 is $100. I'm already going to get that, and I get a little extra for it. Okay, but it's all cosmetic. It's nothing that's going to groundbreakingly do it for me. But that's it. But this time I did not spend on Call of Duty for $100. I spent it for $50 on Call of Duty this year. Because I have decided that I'm not going to spend $100 on a freaking video game. And spend my money on cosmetics that do not change the aspect of the game. And of course, most of that is also I don't have a job. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't going to be willing to spend $100 on I would have spent $100 on the game, but that would be about it. And right now, because I spent only about $50 on it because I didn't spend it. Glass did. A friend of mine spent $60 on. I made a slight boo-boo. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around to here. So it's like, you gotta think about what you spend and where you spend your... Really? As long as I don't have any damage to my vehicle... I'm okay. But it's one of those things that the more that you spend on these things, all they're doing is really taking your money and actually just milking you out for it. And it's really tough when you got good things coming out for a lot of these things. They're basically just doing it. Now, of course, if you are like an online multiplayer and you are trying to keep things running, servers, you got to keep servers running. You got to make sure that things are doing well for that. And Fortnite does it well enough. The community there is great compared to Roblox. I stopped playing on Roblox for a long time. I used to play on Roblox. It was one of the first online games that I really got into when I started. You guys can always find that here on the channel. Oh, fruit. And you can always make great and choose the platforms that you support and things that give you the best user base, and or just the best thing that they support you for a lot of things. Now, of course, Sony is absolutely one of the best for me. Basically, I've always been somebody that supports Sony a lot of the time. I own pretty much at least every kind of video game from Sony. I own a PlayStation. I've owned a PlayStation 2. I still own a PlayStation 2. A PlayStation 3. And I own 4 and 5. I used to own an Xbox. I own an Xbox 360, and that was about the last time that I spent on any video game system from Xbox. I got the Xbox 360 for $100. Okay, the only thing that it doesn't do is turn it on. I have to turn it on through the controller, but it works otherwise. I pretty much, basically, Xbox 360 has been one of the best systems out there. The PS3, great system. Sony has done great with a lot of their systems. And I've always loved every system for the and Nintendo. Of course, I owned pretty much, basically, if you really want to be out there, I've pretty much owned a Game Boy Advance. I think I still have it somewhere. I don't know where it's at. I own a a Nintendo DS. I own a GameCube, and I own a Wii from Nintendo, and I own a Switch. Okay, Nintendo has done great job with a lot of the systems, but they're not the best. When it comes to me being loyal to Sony, I'm not saying I'm loyal to Sony either, because to be honest, I never pick a platform. I never say that Sony's going to be the best platform ever. You have to make that your decision yourself. You have to decide what you're going to do. But anyway, um, it is about time for me to get off. And I know already talked about early on. We did. I think I got to all of the topics through it all. I think I got to um, the thing, but I will tell you, it is one thing about the Stonewall flag. I talked about this earlier, but the Stonewall pride flag has been taken down. It's sad to see it go down. It's sad to see a place that has been um, of the Stonewall riots back in the 1969. Back then, it has been one of those things that is a moment in history that we need to learn from. And we need to learn from everything about our history, including what happened from World War II to how World War II started, to be honest, and how it became that point. It's no um, no feat to understanding that how Germany became the communistic a communistic country, and has been that way for quite some time. You know, it's the same thing that's going on now in the United States that happened in 1930s Germany. That's going on now. You have to learn. You have to study from your history and understand those things. You can't just go and view history in that way. And it's just sad to see history being taken away. A lot of people are still going to remember some of those things. The internet's going to remember, okay? But having an official site, an official place of where it happened, is going to be there. And I did talk about the Trump attack thing already. If you really wanted to know what's going on, the best place you can always do is watch Midas Touch. That's where most of the time I get my information, is through Midas Touch or through my Newsbreak app that I have. I'm an aggregate in that way, or Smart News for it. So if you wanna see content for Euro Truck and stuff, stick around, hit that follow button. We do Euro Truck, we do Final Fantasy 13 here in the afternoons, on TikTok and Trovo. I mean on YouTube and Trovo. Sorry, I'm not even on TikTok anymore. And then you guys can also not only do that. I typically do this in the afternoon for it, and then I have a second stream because I have to get something to eat first and foremost, and I have to spend some time with my mom. So at night, at 9 o'clock tonight, I will be playing some Fortnite. If you want to see that, if not, you guys can just not come back tomorrow, and we'll probably do 13 again. You guys can hit that subscribe here on the YouTube. Make sure you get that bell notification with the all, so you can stay up to date. And you guys can also check out my other videos. Typically we drive anywhere from. Typically we just drive and talk politics. When I do Euro Truck, I don't do it every day because not everybody is wanting to see politics. Not everybody's into the politics that I talk about. I am very much a left-leaning person. Not completely, but I do tend to lean left more than probably you think, or even if you don't think. Because to be honest, I support guns, and I support that aspect of life. But most of the time, I support left-leaning stuff everywhere else. So, anyway, If you uh want to also check out my other places, you guys can always check out that link tree. Linktree is always going to give you the best place to watch and um, view wherever you are from wherever I post. I could have talked about Discord. I didn't get to talking about Discord. Maybe I'll talk about it later in the week. But tomorrow we'll do 13. Um, if you want to see Final Fantasy 13, that's a great way to be subscribed here on YouTube and followed on Trovo. And we will catch you guys later. Remember, the schedule is there on screen or there in chat. It is always Monday through Friday. Saturday is no go. Sunday is there, and we always try to be on from 3 till 6 o'clock at night. Sometimes I go till 5:36. It all depends on when I start. If I start at 4 o'clock, I go till 6. If I start at 3, I go to 5:30. Um, it's just that way. Um, for it. So, and then my night streams are pretty much from 9 till whenever or 10 till whenever. It depends on when I feel like getting on at night. Um, but except for Saturday. Saturday is till 12:30. So, anyway, we will catch, or 1. We'll catch you guys, later. Night. Bye.